validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa, I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to this and that. Ooh, off to the side. There we go. I'm your host Xander, where we talking about this, that, and everything in between. Took Steven's advice. We set it for 30 minutes after the hour at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, and still started 10 minutes late. So, like I tell you guys, we almost there. We almost there. Man, I ain't been to bed in 2 days. I was woke up Tuesday. It's Wednesday night, and I'm still up. Ah, so many things I had to do today. Unexpected, inconvenient things. So it's not part of my normal routine. But neither here nor there, because we still got everything that we needed to get done today done. And that's one of the biggest goals that I tell you guys is to prioritize two major things that must get done today, three minor things that can be put off till tomorrow. Try to accomplish at least one major thing every day, which allows you to accomplish seven major things every week. And then try to accomplish at least one minor thing every day, which allows for you to accomplish 14 things a week. And everything else can wait until tomorrow. He said it's Thursday Night Live. It is not Thursday Night Live. I have not warped into the future. And the reason why I know it's not Thursday is because today is the day that we talk about different countries around the world to invest in. Thursday is the day after. Yesterday, we talked about silver. So that means today we're supposed to talk about another country because silver is an investment portfolio item, and investment portfolio items are discussed on Tuesday. So I'm not that disoriented. uh, it's Thursday morning though, because I mean it's after midnight now. But here on this and that, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between, I tell you guys we do not let the sun rise without going live, but we don't always start on time, and that's why we ask you guys to like and subscribe. We ask you guys to hit the notification button on all of the shows. We ask you guys to um, take a look at the membership with all the stuff that's supposed to be rolling out with the membership. I will have to double down on the membership because I want to catch up on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It won't be too much stuff. I'll just do like every 12-hour release over the next 7 days, and then do one a day like I was planning on doing, so that I can catch up, because I went all the way back to January and I grabbed all of the most relevant financial information and started putting it into the membership. And I got into February. So all of the relevant information out of February, March, and April should be able to cover um, week 2, week 3, week 4 of June, and then the investment information, so that you have all of the stuff that you need to be successful. Trader says, I need that cash is king into Tuvula. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Cash is always king. Cash is secondary to gold, but cash is king because cash can be spent a lot easier than gold can be spent. He said, where I'm at, it's 14 minutes to go until Thursday. Well, specifically, Stephen, it's 14 minutes until Thursday, but by the time I finish the opening spiel, it's going to be midnight. By the time we touch base on tonight's topic, it's going to be midnight. It's going to be Thursday morning, technically. So, um, we haven't heard any new information. They're still blowing each other up with Iran. So gas prices are stable now. Right now, I've actually seen some 387s. I've seen some 489s. So it's stable. It's not still creeping yet, but you got to recognize that we just creeped into hurricane season. So while creeping into hurricane season, you're going to see things like generators going up, and you're going to see gas prices going up because people are buying extra gas for hurricane season. Remember, I told you guys before to go and buy those 20 and 30-gallon gas cans. They literally make those, and they're gas cans that come with a hose, almost like an actual gas station pump that has a motor on it that forces the gas into your car. So you can get one of those things. It probably should take up your whole back seat. I would get 2 or 3 of them just to be safe. Go to the gas station overnight, fill them fuckers up, bring them back to your house, and then when you need them, you have them. And then if you have to use your generator, you don't have to go when gas prices go up, because more people are buying gas during hurricane season. You can use the gas you already have to fill your generator. You should have at least one of them for your generator, and a 60-gallon gas can for your generator. When the average person has a 5-gallon gas can for their generator, you're going to be overly prepared for that. And then two 20 or 30-gallon gas cans for your vehicle, which allows you to fill your tank up twice before you need to go and refill those gas cans. It'll be a convenient situation, because even if you get a tank of gas every week, you can get those tanks of gas. But when you're riding around and you're looking at the gas prices went up another 45 cents, you're like, nah, fuck that. I'll wait until later. You can just drive back to the house and top your car off, and then go out there when you see those gas prices cheaper. You can take one of your empty cans and drive out there and fill it up overnight, kind of thing. So instead of buying gas during the daytime, two problems you have with that is buying gas in the daytime. The gas prices are going to be higher in the daytime than what they are at night because of peak usage hours. Then your convenience. A lot of people have gas that disappears at the most inconvenient time, which forces them to go to the gas station at the most inconvenient time. If you have gas cans at your house, not just in your car, then what you can do is you can top off your car before you leave the house, which makes it easier for you to do the things that you got to do. Or you can top off your car when you get back to your house, which routinely allows you to spend less time leaving, less time fueling up to get to your destination. And these things make you better prepared. I'm not gonna lie to you. These gas 20 and 30-gallon gas cans are like $100 to $300 depending on where you go. Temu, they have them cheaper than most other places, but I'm getting them motherfuckers. And when I get them, I'm gonna show you what the big ass motherfuckers look like. The bitches is huge, but the fact is that it's worth it because it offsets short term increases in gas prices if you don't use gas a lot, and it covers inconveniences. Say you did extra driving like I did today. Say you did extra driving that you wasn't planning on doing. You didn't have enough time to fill your car up. You came back home. You go back to the house. You can pump gas at your house, go inside, get something to eat. Your car is full and you're good to go. At least a half a tank of gas where you're good to go. And then later you can take care of the rest. That's one of the things that I tell you guys to prepare for inconveniences in life, because you can't prepare for everything. But if you compare for most things that you experience more often, then you find yourself in a position with not being inconvenienced as much. We can never predetermine the X factor, but something as simple as if you were in one of those relationships with a partner that never brings a car back with a full tank of gas, problem solved. You got a fucking gas pump outside. You don't have to have your partner bring the car back with a full tank of gas. You can make your partner go outside and drag that big ass gas can over there and pump the damn gas into the car since they didn't do it at the gas station on their way out. Put a stop to that shit one way or another. Steven says, or if you wake up and it's $10 or over, you got a lot of gas. You ain't never lying, bro. If that situation was to happen and you was buying the gas when it was $4 and $5 a gallon, and you got like 60 gallons of gas at your house, and gas prices started shooting up to $10 a gallon, you would have a delayed inconvenience because you would have gas already on reserve from when the gas was cheaper, so you can refuel while the gas in at your house is cheaper than the gas at the store. And then if you're using the gas cans every day, if that happens, you will experience the inconvenience later on. But if the gas lasts you for a while and the gas prices actually go back down because the conflict resolves itself, summer is over, blah, 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 then you'll find yourself in a situation where you missed the increase in gas prices. So people who don't travel that much or use their car that often, like me, I only use my car once a week. So my gas might last me 1 or 2 months, 2 or 3 months. If I bought 2 or 3 of those things and put them here, what'll happen is that I could buy the gas at the cheapest price in the winter time, store them in certain locations on my property, and then throughout the year take one of those cans out and top my car off. And I would not have to go to the gas station for probably 6 or 7 months, which means during the summer when the gas prices are the most expensive, I wouldn't even have to go to the gas station unless I did inconvenient long distance traveling. I would just be topping it off with the gas at the house and miss the increase in gas prices. And that benefits us all the way around. He said, I bet landlords out there right now are raising rent due to gas prices. No, the landlord is not going to. Well, okay, so yes, you are right in some situations. So here's the deal. You have airplane tickets are going up in price because of the gas prices. Bus fares going up in price. Uber is going up in price. Everything that takes gas is going up in price, right? Utility bills are going up in price. Light bill is going to go up in price. Your gas bill is going to go up in price. These are things that you expect to be normal. But guess what? There are certain properties that have universal utilities that is split between all of the tenants on the property for the outdoor lights, the outdoor heating, the outdoor pool system. And that cost is offset onto each one of the customers. The extra money that the property is spending on external utilities is now going to be higher, which means they're going to offset that extra expense onto you. At the renewal of everybody's lease, now they're going to raise everybody's rent $50 to $100 for the gas prices. Yes, anybody who has utility bills factored into their gas price, or factored into their rent, where their rent is a variable rate with utility usage. When the utility bills go up, your rent goes up. So you might have a flat rate, $2,500 for your rent, or a flat rate, $2,000 for your rent. But because your water and your light bill just went up because of gas prices, now your total rent is probably going to be $3,000 instead of it being like 27 or 2,800, right? So yes, you are right. They will be raising a lot of prices. Then repairs, the cost of materials is going to cost more because to get the material shipped in costs more money and gas to get the material shipped in. So construction is going to cost more. Tariffs is going to make construction cost more. So when they renovate the apartment, they're going to raise the rent. Where do you buy those big gas cans? I got links all over my channel, but Temu.com has and matter of fact, I think I can show you what they look like. Um, because you're asking about them, they're actually really good. Let's see, 30-gallon gas can, because you can Google 30-gallon gas can and see what they look like. Um, Walmart got one for $59. You got Vevor that's got one for $179. Um, Walmart's got the big one that I'm talking about for $169.99. Um, Walmart's got a 30-gallon steel fuel caddy for 151.13. Northern Tool has one that is 299.99. eBay's got one for it's a portable one that's similar to the ones that you see on Temu. They're $122, right? And you specifically just Google 30-gallon. Now the metal ones probably would be better for heat expansion and stuff like that. But most of these things come with a generator, or not a generator, but like a pump on them that will uh, help you pump the gas out of the device into the vehicle. And I would recommend that. I would recommend that heavily. Now, what I'm looking for, hold on, let me go to Temu and see what price they were for Temu real quick. And then let's see, 30-gallon. 30-gallon. No, that's a trash bag. We want gas can. Okay, so Temu has 154 for a 40-gallon, 184 for a 40-gallon, um, 192 for a 40-gallon, which is 10 gallons more. That's dirty. It's 10 gallons more than the other ones for the same price. But they do start getting expensive because they got some like the Eureka version for $314 on Temu. Um, Steel duty ones, and they're, let me see if I can show you. See, they're pretty decent size, and they like, okay, take this one for example. This is what I'm talking about. It's on wheels, bro. It's like a mini bar full of gas, and you pick one of those bad boys up, and then if you get two or three of those, like I said, and keep them at your house, it is very beneficial for you overall. And then you can store them, and they have the little pump thing that pumps the gas on them. They got the small one here. This one's 16 gallon. That's 107, $118 for another 15 gallon. The and this is, look, boom. That's what I'm talking about right there. See that? So your boy got it sitting there on the curb, sticking into his car, just like at a gas station, just pump up his vehicle, easy peasy. That's the kind of stuff that I be promoting for you guys, because I'm like, man, y'all can just pick that stuff up and then y'all have it. And because I'm getting some, I'm gonna ship mine in. And we ain't got to worry about bullshit. But like I said, they got some at Walmart.com. They got some in a lot of different places. He says, therefore, rent will go up. Yes, sir. Rent is going to go up. It's going to go up even more. Ooh, Michael's got a good place to go. He said, cost just to maintain a rental will go up. Oh, yeah. No. Oh, yeah. Well, materials and everything. Tractor Supply. Tractor Supply is a good place to go. I didn't even think about Tractor Supply. I got a Tractor Supply down the street. I can go over there and just go, whoop. Pick it up from Tractor Supply, swing it around to the gas station down the road. Not that hard. Tractor Supply, that's a good place to go. He said, there's a guy in my area that has a huge gas storage with a pump on the back of his truck. That's, if I had a truck, exactly what I would do. I would put two or three of the motherfuckers on the back of my truck these days, mount that shit down with some chains and shit, just really bolt it down where can't nobody steal those fuckers. And I would just have them in there with like lock the pumps up and everything where nothing can be used off of it. And then when it's time for me to get that gas, I can just literally just fill my tank up anywhere. I've always had it in my mind that I wanted a vehicle where I would convert my trunk into an extra gas tank. So if I had a 20-gallon gas tank or a 15-gallon gas tank from my vehicle, I would have another 15 or 20-gallon gas tank in the trunk in addition to the first one connected to the first one so that my fuel pump would just pump all of that gas through my car where I would have a ultimately a 40-gallon gas tank vehicle that would be able to do whatever performance that we normally do, which now that I think about it, that would be really smart if Hellcats did that since they have 19 miles per gallon. Actually, they have like 8 miles per gallon with a 19-gallon gas tank, and they're operating like at 215 miles an hour. It's like 3 minutes worth of riding. But if you put a second gas tank on that son bitch, you'll get 6 minutes. And people think, oh, 6 minutes, that's not a lot. Shit, at 214 miles an hour, 6 minutes is a long time. Imagine being in an inappropriate situation with a female colleague for 6 minutes. Now imagine being in a Hellcat for 215 miles an hour. You could die in 30 seconds. 6 minutes, that's a long time. He said you just need one with the pump. The rest can just be jerry cans. But see, that's what I'm trying to say. If you get because the jerry cans are little 5-gallon gas cans, and the jerry cans are like $20, $30 a piece. If you were to compare one 5-gallon gas can to one $40 gas can, that's 8 cans. If you're paying $20 a can for 8 cans, it's $160. If it's $160 to buy 8 jerry cans, why not buy two of these things with the pump? And the reason why you're going to buy two with the pump for two reasons. One, because if you got two, you can always have one half empty and the other one full. And when one empties, you can be using one while you're refilling the other one. And two, if the pump breaks, you have another one. Because one of the things that I did not do was research replacement parts for this equipment. So if you have two of those 40-gallon tanks with the pump equipment and everything on it, if one motor burns out, you can just take the motor off of one of them and put it on the other one. It's about being resourceful. Most of them Hellcat owners can barely make payments. If they had that, they would burn fuel like it was water evaporating. Well, most people with Hellcats don't. The Hellcat don't last more than 6 months anyway. So, because of the way the kids drive them, they crash them, get them impounded. They get so many tickets that their license gets suspended to the magnitude where like 6 months with a Hellcat with these kids that's between like 18 and 25, them Hellcats, they're not gonna be on the road long. You know, they'll get it. It'll be like the best thing in the world to do, and then all of a sudden they're disappointed as all get out. And I'm like, back to your Honda Civic. The money they spent on a Hellcat, they could have made a sleeper with a Honda Civic. 55, $60,000 cash up front for a Hellcat. They could have 55, $60,000 on a rebuilt 90s model Honda Civic or a rebuilt 90s model Toyota Celica, and engine swap, transmission swap, all this other stuff, and just built them a supercar with that 50 grand. Gutted it out, stage three, weight reduction, stage three cooling system, stage three, transmission, all this other stuff, double clutch, all this other stuff that they could have put in there, NOS system, all the stuff that they could have put in there for 50 grand. And you're just getting a factory made race car. I don't know. That's what kids do these days. Uh, Back to the main part of the show because I went on a wild tangent. I told you it was going to be after midnight before we started. So Sunday we got questions and comments from the fans. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we have Monday. We talk about business and politics and how politics negatively impacts your ability to make, save, and invest money. Tuesday we talk about how to make money, save money, invest money, budget money, different ways to think about money, different ways to protect your money. Then Wednesday, today, we talk about different countries around the world that we're going to invest in, and we're talking about Tuvalu's, the country of Tuvalu's today. And then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, We talk about personal development, self-improvement, relationship topics, negotiation, socialization, building your brand, promotions, raises, retirement, and termination, severance packages. And then we give you guys a lot of information and reasons why you should be working on your 20 and 30-year plan. And that's one of the reasons why we were sitting here having a short discussion before the show, or not short because it's been 25 minutes. Uh, before we got started with today's show, specifically because um, preparing yourselves for the things that you know is happening is one of the ways that you do preventative maintenance on your life. So, since we know gas prices are going up, we know gas prices are going to go up more because it's summertime. We know gas prices are going to go up more because it's hurricane season. We know that if we start grabbing these big ass 40-gallon gas cans and get them shipped in, we can, and especially we can find it on sale and get them shipped in. We know that we can have these 40-gallon gas cans at the house, able to uh, serve us the purpose of keeping us with extra fuel at the house for those natural disasters. When the power goes out, we would have it there for refueling our cars and all this other stuff. That's why we talked about that. If we prepare for what we know that we have to deal with every year, like the people who work for the government who have to deal with government shutdowns at least once a year, those people know that they don't have to use their vacation pay because they know that they're going to get laid off. But if you know that in October that there's going to be a shutdown, then you know that you can schedule your vacation pay for October. So during the layoff, there's no money to pay you, but if you cash in on your vacation pay at that time, when they do pay you, they're going to pay you all the money they owe you and your vacation time, but you stayed home anyway. Some people might say, well, you can schedule it for after the furlough and then go on vacation after the furlough and extend your time off. You could do that too. But salary employees, you know what I mean? The difference between going to work and staying home isn't always anything other than I'm not required to be here because I'm technically still on vacation kind of thing. That preparing for the things that you know are going to happen. Like, for example, anybody who's ever dated a girl and she slashes tires, you're going to be the kind of guy that has an extra full set of tires at your house, not because you're irresponsible, but because you've experienced situations where two spares isn't enough. So you will have four full size rims at your house. People will look at you like, why you got extra rims? Just in case. You're not going to tell them about that crazy ex that slashed your tire. But if you ended up with a crazy ex that slashed your tires, you would just go outside for 20 minutes, rotate your tires out. Now all of a sudden you got a full set of tires and you're going out and doing what you got to do, right? Those individuals who know that one full size spare isn't enough and they need a second full size spare, those are going to be individuals that got two full size spares in their trunk. If you've ever been in a situation where you needed to jump, you got jumper cables, you got toe straps. If you ever was the kind of person that would try to help somebody else who got stuck, you would have toe straps for them, not for you. But if you needed a toe, you already got straps. You know, I got two batteries in my vehicle, not because I got a sound system, but because it's convenient to have a second battery and solar panels charging the second battery while the second battery is connected to the first battery. And then I park my car strategically where the sun shines on the solar panels. So my car is being recharged on a regular basis where both of my batteries are optimized. I got 14 amps right now going into the car on a regular basis, which is far more than it's normally required. But the fact is that overly prepared. I'm never going to have a situation where my battery's dead, right? You got to prepare for these things. He said, I wish I could store one. If I try to put that anywhere outside the trailer on, it will be stolen in hours. Well, for you, Stephen, um, it depends on where you're at. If you're in like a trailer park or something like that where people can see the stuff that you have. These things are you get the ones that are on wheels first of all. Then for you, you might not be able to get three or four of them. You might only be able to get one, right? And then put it inside, right? But it is convenient. It is very convenient to have if you can have it, but it's not a perfect solution for everybody. It's not an end all be all like one size fits all for everybody. If you can find a way to acquire one and have it on hand, it's beneficial for you. You, Stephen, might not get the 40-gallon one. You might get the 15-gallon one. The 15-gallon one is smaller with the bigger wheels on it, and you can roll it up the stairs into your trailer and then leave it in the kitchen, put it in the living room next to the TV or something like that. You know, it just really depends. You know, you just like when we were talking about yesterday with the precious metals. If you're going to store the precious metals at your house, you got to get a safe. If you're going to get a safe, you have to decide first how much stuff you're going to put in the safe and where you're going to put the safe. That determines the size of the safe. So if you're not going to put a lot of stuff in a safe, it can be a small safe. If you want the safe to be discreet, you have to look for certain places in the house where the safe can be discreet. Unless you're going to redesign your house so you could put the safe in the wall, you're likely going to just put the safe on a shelf or put the safe in a corner somewhere where people aren't really looking at it. Out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. You might put the safe like they got furniture with safes in them. You might do something like that where unless you got people snooping, they're not going to stumble on the safe. You know, he said one less girlfriend. That's right. And so depending on how you structure your house, if you're like, oh well, because they got thin safes, they got thick safes, they got fireproof safes, all this other stuff. When you think about what size safe you're gonna have, then you think, okay, well, this safe I can fit in that corner because a lot of the times when they sell you a safe online, they tell you the dimensions. You get you a tape measure and you measure certain areas in your house, like, oh, that safe can fit right here. I can slide it in this corner in the closet. I can slide this in the corner by the shoes. That's a lot of people put their safes in their master bedroom. But you might put it in the laundry room. You might put it in one of the cabinets in the kitchen. You might put it under the floorboards. If you got a house that's off the ground, you might put it in the attic. You know, it really depends on what kind of house you have. But um, if you got a safe, depending on how big the safe is and where you plan on putting it, that's how you're able to determine, you know, how much the safe is going to cost, depending on how big it is. You might decide, well, I'm not going to have a lot of stuff. I might only need to get me like a thin little like safety deposit box style safe, small thing like this, you know, like 50, 75 bucks. And I'm only going to put a few things in there, but not a lot of stuff. That's how, you know, you decide what you're going to do, right? But it's called being prepared. Now, once you buy the safe, then you start getting the stuff to put in the safe, but you don't get stuff that requires a safe and then go buy the safe. You get this when you start thinking about getting the stuff to be put in the safe, you start buying that safe, right? That's a preventative maintenance. He said, the gold in the top drawer of the dresser. That's how your shit come up missing. If anybody who's ever smoked weed before, you put your weed in the sock jar, find out when you come out the bathroom that your weed is gone. You know that sock jar is not a sturdy place to put nothing. He said, put the safe in the floor. But see, there's an issue with putting the safe in the floor. Putting the safe in the floor in the movies is a smart move in the movies. But putting a safe in the floor in reality, you have to destroy your floor. And if you're not a handyman, it is not going to be discreet and it is going to permanently damage your floor. And if you do not have the type of house that supports that, you're really just cutting a hole in your floor and then you're going to drop the safe to the ground. Because think about this. If you put the safe in the floor, let's talk about first floor first of all. If your house is on the ground, you pull up the floor. Hopefully, it's a wood floor, not a concrete floor. You pull up the floor, and when you pull up the floor, you're now cutting a hole in your floor, which is obvious. And this is going to be one of the biggest problems you have with this is that if the floor pattern changes anywhere in the room, that location has a hidden compartment. So that's your first problem. If there's like so all, for example, a hardwood floor, the lines in the floor go from one side of the room to the other uninterrupted. There's never a break in the wood. The wood is the length of the room. So if you walk into the room in anybody's house and you have a 10 by 10 cut in the floor where all the wood stops right here and starts right here and stops right here and starts right here. That square, that's a hidden compartment, right? Now, what some people might say is, oh, well, throw a carpet over it. You could. But when people come to rob you, the first thing you do is move the carpet because that's where people hide stuff. They hide stuff under the floor mat. They hide stuff under the flower pot near the door. They hide stuff under the carpet. So sweep it under the rug isn't a metaphor for nothing. So if you're going to do it and do it discreetly, you want to do it in ways where it's not widely, readily obvious. But let's say that you can MacGyver your way in cutting a hole in the floor, right? So you cut the hole in the floor. If your house is on the ground, now you got to dig a hole deep enough to put the safe below the floor to replace the floorboard, right? It's a lot of work. Option two, what if your house is not on the ground? What if your house is elevated off of the ground where there's some room for water to go underneath your house in case of floods and stuff to that effect? Now you have to build a compartment under your floor to put the safe in to then cover it up. Wait, you're not skilled at this? You might get a contractor. Who's the one person that knows that you've got a secret compartment in your house? The fucker that built it. So when your shit comes up missing, the first person that would have been the one to do it, the fucker that built it. So, you know, it's putting it in the floor is a good idea, but finding more discreet places to do it. That's why they start doing furniture with hidden compartments in it. And reason being is because a chair is always a chair. This chair that I'm sitting on could actually be a vault, but you couldn't tell because it looks like a chair, right? And that's why they're starting to make hidden compartment furniture because that helps with preventing people from finding it because they're going to look for a giant box with a lock on it, something with a digital keypad on it, something with a turn thing or a biometric print, right? But if it was like a regular table that you've got a regular old looking thick table and that thick table has a something underneath it that makes a hidden compartment slide out where you couldn't tell if that compartment was there from the beginning, and those hidden compartments are the kind where you can put cash in it, put gold in it. But see, the problem with gold is that if you hide gold in furniture, if you slide the furniture, it's gonna make a weird noise because there's something inside the furniture. Like I seen a video where this guy had a chair that folds out and you can put stuff in it. He put money in it, but then he put jewelry in it. And then when he tilted the chair, the jewelry slid inside of the chair. I'm like, man, fuck, the jewelry would have to go somewhere else because that chair, the money is not going to make as much noise. He said, put it in the basement foundation. If you have a basement, you can put it in the basement. If you don't have a basement, you can dig a hole in the floor. We're going to be covering the show later this month, I think, talking about what happens when you bury your money. Uh, but like I said, you can put it into the wall. You can cut a hole in the wall and then put a picture frame up there. But with all of the movies that we've seen in our lives where picture frames usually hide something. So first thing people are going to do when they break into your house is take the pictures off the wall. You know, it's not an impenetrable system, right? But less obvious places is like in the basement and in the attic because you know nobody goes in the basement, nobody goes in the attic. You know, those are like some of the most the less logical places to find them. But the he said put it in a refrigerator. Well, you don't want to put it in high traffic areas because if you put it in high traffic areas, people will see it. And when people see it, people know it's there. And when people know it's there, then they can make plans to take it, damage it, break into it, and get stuff out of it. So, long story short is you want to prepare for most things, right? You want to prepare for most things. You can't prepare for everything, but you want to prepare for most things, especially the things that you experience the most. You want to prepare for those things so that those things don't negatively impact you as much. That's going to be the way that life gets better for you. Life gets less stressful for you, right? All right, let's go ahead and move into tonight's show. Now, you can live on this entire island paradise for less than $3,000 a month. So, if you were to move here, you would find the ultimate life hack, the perfect escape from the 9 to 5, a way to turn your remote income into a life of financial freedom and a postcard perfect view, right? If you look at the numbers, if you look at the pictures, you might decide to buy the dream, right? Until the reality of the extreme isolation, a dating pool of virtually zero, and impossible visa rules reveal the brutal truth, right? The spreadsheets do not tell you about the silence. The spreadsheets do not tell you about the loneliness. And they certainly do not tell you that the cheapest things in life often come with the highest price. So today we're going to be talking about um, what it's really like to chase that fantasy to one of the most remote corners of the earth and the catches that are waiting for you when you get there, right? Steven says, I'm freezing stuff in between ham because I don't eat pork. Back in the day when I was young, uh, and I have to say that back in the day when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore, but some days I just wish I was a kid again. I know I love that stuff. Back in the day. I love that. Okay. I remember way back when. Uh, that's for 90s babies. Okay, so back in the day, what we used to do is we used to hide our money in Bibles because nobody reads the Bible, or at least not people with sense. Um, I know somebody's going to take offense to what I just said, and I'm not apologetic to it. What I mean by that is the people who read Bibles in the comfort of their own home, and the people who read Bibles collectively in a group setting with other people that are reading Bibles, meaning at church functions, in the comfort of their own home with their kids and stuff to that effect. If you're going to a club, if you're going to a bar, if you're going to a concert of some sort, nobody at that location is like, this is a good time for me to crack open King James. So nobody in the vicinity of where you're about to go would be knocking back scripture during club time. As a result, just like having a Bible on a nightstand at a hotel could have condoms in it that nobody ever uses, a Bible can have hundreds of dollars of money in it in the glove box of your car. Nobody's gonna open the Bible. And then the funny thing is, if they were to pop, because people are nosy, you get friends that get into your car, they lose respect for you because they're your friends. The more your bond grows for each other, the less respect you have for each other because you allow them to disrespect you because of your loyalty to each other, right? So instead of them following what should be their upbringing is don't touch shit that ain't theirs, they will do things like go through your armrest, go through your glove box, start like doing a soft search on your fucking vehicle. Doesn't matter what they're looking for because they're not looking to rob you. They're just exploring your vehicle because they're in your vehicle, right? And when they pop open the glove box, they see this Bible. Oh, I didn't know that you read the Bible. And then you have a short religious conversation. You don't tell them that there's money in it. They never look in the book, and the book will have your whole rent check in there through all of those thousands of pages, big bills in that Bible. Nobody will ever look into it. I used to do that. Then, because Toyotas are freaking awesome, I had a Toyota Corolla FX. So Steven knows what I'm talking about. I had a Toyota Corolla FX. And the back seat comes out just like in the Cadillac, but there's nothing back there. So you can lift the seat and use that as a hidden compartment. It's hard to get the seat up, so nobody would think to lift the seat. Money all up underneath the back seat, right? The radio. I remember I told you guys a story about my friends buying me a radio for Thanksgiving because they was riding with me and they bought me a whole stereo system. Well, since it was an aftermarket radio, it was easily removable. So I removed the radio out of the dash and put all my credit cards in the dash and then put the radio on top of the credit cards. When I would go to the club, all I would have in my wallet was my ID, but I would have like $10,000 throughout this vehicle and nobody would know. So when you stuff it in between the ham because you don't eat pork, I mean, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because you will put it in places where people are not gonna go because that's not so for example, one of the best hiding spots to put stuff, your fucking work boots. Nobody's gonna search your work boots because they don't want to work. It's a psychological thing. Nobody searches. So you could put like a roll of hundreds in the big toe of your work boots and nobody will go in there until they see you pulling money out of your shoes. Nobody will go in there. What kids used to do back in the day, Biggie Smalls and all of them, they used to have shoe boxes that they would keep in their house. And because most people who collect Jordans have a collection of shoes, one of those shoe boxes would be empty and full of nothing but money. And nobody would think twice about it. They would assume it's a bunch of shoes. You open two or three boxes, you see shoes, but the one shoe box all the way in the back, all the way at the bottom, hardest one to get to, full of money. The ones in the front, full of shoes. The ones easily accessible, full of shoes. You open three or four of them, you see shoes in three or four of them, you automatically assume this is a collection of shoes. You don't think that the one with the money is all the way in the back, the most inconvenient one. Why do you think that our robber mindset is not like our shopper mindset? Our shopper mindset is the best one is all the way in the back. So we'll go to the grocery store, unload the shelf, and take the best one from the back, put it in our cart, and reload the shelf. But if we're trying to rob somebody, we'll look right there in the front. And if we don't see what we need, we'll ignore it. So the harder you make it for them to get to it, you know what I mean? And that's why I said, when you go to look for a safe to put in your house, you just got to put it in an inconvenient place. You don't have to deface your house in order to um, um, store stuff. But if you were, I wouldn't say with gold and silver, but if you were trying to hide blocks of cash, what some criminals would do is put it in Ziploc bags and put it in their toilet because nobody goes into the toilet bowl. You could put it in the freezer, like Michael's talking about. I mean, Steve is talking about. You could put it in the freezer because nobody goes into your fridge when they're trying to rob you, not especially not your freezer. And if you put it in the bottom underneath some shit, like he's putting it underneath his ham, if you put it underneath the turkey and shit, nobody's gonna search your refrigerator for money, right? They're going to be looking in cabinets and dresser drawers and nightstands and stuff like that for your money. So if you put it in an inconvenient place like in the washer and dryer, nobody's doing laundry, they're not going to find it, right? Though its food prices rise and the freezer contents ain't safe from robbers anyway. Oh, with groceries going up. I just spent $250 today on groceries, which is again because I just spent $250 on groceries last week, and I spent $250 on groceries the week before that. Man, I just spent almost $1,000 on groceries in the last 6 weeks. It's crazy, but yeah, the grocery prices is going up. The grocery prices is going up. But let's rewind. The idea of this fantasy island, this picture perfect retirement thing was born, like a lot of the things uh, these days, from a deep seated burnout and a desire for something more. Or maybe it was a desire for something less traffic, less noise, less pressure. So a lot of people that are working fully remote jobs, watching their salary get eaten up by rent in the city, barely having enough time to enjoy their money, would observe that the math is suffocating. Every month, the same story. Huge chunk of the money vanishes into the black hole of living expenses before you even have a chance to think about saving or building any real wealth. Then you stumble upon a place like Tuvalu. It was the name that you might vaguely remember. It's a tiny dot in the vastness of the Pacific. Can barely see it on a map. The initial research is addictive. You find articles and cost of living calculators that seem to defy logic. Some online estimates put the total monthly cost for a single person as low as $700 a month. And that supposedly includes the rent. Even more generous budgets for a comfortable expat lifestyle hovering around $1,500 to $2,000 a month. So to everyone earning a Western remote salary, this wasn't just a budget, it was a revolution. right? So you start building a fantasy in your head. You picture yourself waking up not to sirens and gunshots and helicopters overhead, but to the gentle lapping of the lagoon. The morning commute would be a short walk. Your work day would be uh, punctuated by swims with crystal clear water. Your evenings would be spent under a blanket of stars so thick that you could almost touch them. For under $3,000 a month, you couldn't only live comfortable, but also aggressively save and invest. With that thought, some people aren't just moving, they're executing a financial masterstroke, and they feel like they're hacking the system. The numbers that we got jotted down were very seductive. Rent for a simple one-bedroom place, maybe $300 to $600. Food figured around $260 a month if you ate local. Transportation on the island, where motorcycles are a main form of transport, barely a rounding error, or a lot of people might think, right? This wasn't just about saving money, it was about buying back your time, your freedom, and your sanity, right? So I know what people might think: sell all your furniture, pack two suitcases, and buy a one way ticket. The journey itself is going to feel like a pilgrimage, hopping from one increasingly smaller island to the next until finally the tourist jewel of Funatfut Atoll appeared below, right? The air is going to be warm, thick with the scent of salt and flowers. The people are going to be welcoming. Their smiles are going to be genuine. And those first few weeks, it's going to be everything that you imagine. You're going to think to yourself that you found your paradise. You're going to think that you were living the dream that most people only see on Instagram. But what you don't know is that you're living on borrowed time. And the dream that you just bought is about to present all the bills that come with it. He said, mentally packing a suitcase. I'm mentally packing a suitcase for the Philippines. I love a lot of the countries that I talk about, but um, the Philippines, they give you 15 to 20 years of obedience before they give up on you. I would be dead before they're gone. I will be long gone before they quit. Yeah, I would be able to say that if you can perform this job for 20 years, your retirement should be lovely. The switch from the honeymoon phase to stark reality isn't going to be a sudden crash. It's going to be a slow creeping erosion, like the king tides that quietly eat away at the island shore. Your bank account is indeed growing faster than ever, but that freedom is trapped on your laptop screen. Outside your door, you're starting to understand the true cost of your decision. The brutal truth of life in Tuvalu aren't in travel guides. So I want to break down three of the biggest catches that nobody's going to tell you about. First, this truth is going to be the hardest to quantify: the soul crushing weight of isolation. And for anybody who's been mentally strained, at first, you're going to love this. This is going to be fucking fantastic for people to leave you the fuck alone. You don't have to deal with bullshit, right? So you might think that you understand what isolation is because you're socially avoidant, right? I certainly thought so too. But there's a huge difference between choosing solitude and being swallowed by a deep, inescapable smallness. Knowing that there's people around that you don't want to talk to is a whole lot different from knowing that there's absolutely no one here, even if you wanted to talk to somebody, right? The difference between shutting yourself off in your room and being locked up in isolation in a prison. A lot of people can't stand being forced to be by themselves. And those are the same people that are willing to isolate themselves when they have the option to be with other people. It's weird. Tuvalu isn't just small, it's a micronation, one of the smallest in the world. The entire population is only around 11,000 to 12,000 people. The whole country is smaller than some cities in some counties in some states in America. That damn small. So Funafuti, I'm gonna try to say it right at some point. Funafuti, the capital, atoll where most people live, feel less like a city and more like a single long village. At first, it's going to be charming. You recognize faces, you learn the rhythms of the island, but that predictability soon curdles into monotony. You realize you've seen every face here. The handful of restaurants have the same limited menus. The one supermarket has the same sparse selection of imported goods. There's no cinemas, no theaters, no bookstores. The social calendar revolves around community and church events. As an outsider, you're welcome, but you're always on the uh, peripheral of a culture built on lifelong family ties. So, in a big city, you can reinvent yourself, find a tribe, or join the groups, or you can in fact disappear. In Tuvalu, special shout out to IP8. What's up? He said, "Hey, Steve, Steve." In Tuvalu, uh, you are who you are every single day. You're a foreign guy. That's your label, and it's nearly impossible to shake that. Right? That's something that you guys got to deal with. He says, as long as they have good barbecue sauce, I think I can make it work for a few months. I don't know though. What if they don't have good barbecue sauce? What if they don't have barbecue sauce? I used to put barbecue sauce on all of my meats, no matter how good the meat tastes, because I like the flavor of barbecue sauce. Then I started going to restaurants that didn't allow me to even touch barbecue sauce. No Heinz 57, no A1 sauce. I asked for steak sauce and they say, eat the steak first. Not for real. Eat the steak first. I'll bring you whatever you want if you eat the steak first. This is the discussion that I'm having with the server, with the manager, with the cook. Eat the steak first. Just two bites of the steak and then do whatever you want with the steak. I don't care about your refund. Eat the steak first. And after I ate the steak, I was like, fuck this barbecue sauce. And now I only use steak sauce when the cook didn't do a good job cooking the meat. So I will start with eat the steak first. I learned it the hard way. Eat it first, see what it tastes like first, and then change the way it tastes. Now, I also grew up in some Chinese restaurants where, because my family used to work in some of those restaurants when I was a kid, and I used to go there while they were at work, and it's a very good culture. They would just bring you in and just start feeding you because you're family of the help. So I never read their menu, but I always got good food from there. And they're like, try this, try this. I don't even know what it is, but it was big bowls. And I'm like, like Goku from Dragon Ball Z, and I'm just tearing it up, right? So, what I would recommend is that if you go to a different country, as long as the food is cooked thoroughly, try it first. And if you don't like the way it tastes, then go get you some barbecue sauce. The only other recommendation I might have for you, bring some hot sauce. Hot sauce makes most things taste better. Hot sauce and ketchup. And if you mix hot sauce and ketchup together, you got the Popeyes spicy chicken sauce. You just a little bit of ketchup, a little bit of hot sauce, stir it up. Just saying. But being in a small place like this with a lack of anonymity, it starts to make you feel like you're caged in. You might find yourself becoming more withdrawn, more self conscious because everybody's prejudging you. The physical isolation is just as intense. Getting off the island isn't going to be very simple. Air travel depends on infrequent flights to places like Fiji. A cancellation isn't an inconvenience, it can mean being stranded for days or, in rare cases, even longer. It creates this psychological barrier, a feeling of being trapped. You are accurately aware of the vast ocean separating you from the rest of the world, right? Is that I keep that Tapestito hot sauce on standby. Man, I be using the Louisiana hot sauce and then that fiery hot fireball hot sauce. I be using those. The ones that they use for the barbecue sauce at Buffalo Wild Wings. I be using that stuff. I be trying to find the hottest hot sauce that you can find. Sriracha. I be trying to put that on deck. um, the problem is though that we getting old, Steven, and with hot sauce comes ulcers. So no matter how good it tastes, we got to back off of it sometimes because sometimes it don't just taste good; it burns after the fact, and that ain't heartburn. That's the stomach acid eating away at your stomach line. So you got to slow down a little bit. We don't recover as good as we used to when we was kids. You know what I mean? Back when we were in our college days, and I can say that since you graduated, back when we were in our college days, we could chug some hot sauce and drink some Guinness, and I don't know what they called that crap when they used to do that at the bar. What was that? The Incredible Hulk. A line of salt, snort some hot sauce into your nose, and then squeeze lemon juice in your eye, and then take a shot. I don't know why these kids be doing this stuff, but when I watch them do it, I just took two straight shots of whiskey and said, "Nah, fuck that, y'all got it." I was okay with the Irish car bomb. I was okay with the Paul Walker. Man, when it and that at that time it was too soon because it just happened. But the Paul Walker was like one of the best drinks to have at the bar because it was an Irish car bomb fired by a fireball. So so we create ridiculous drinks at the bar. But the stuff that they was doing, it's like you had to torture yourself to get drunk. No wonder your eyes is bloodshot red. You beat yourself up. Then you got a headache in the morning. It ain't from the alcohol. It's probably the lemon juice, the hot sauce, or the salt, whichever one of them that you shot up your nose last night. That's why you got the headache. People are crazy. Back to the main topic though. The peace and quiet in Tuvalu, the peace and quiet here, you're probably gonna cherish that quietness, you know, but it's gonna start sounding like extreme silence. The silence of having no one to share a new idea with, the silence of a phone that never rings with an invitation to something unexpected. I mean, you have more money in the bank than ever, but your life is going to feel a lot more poor. You know, as we are right now in our lives, we think to ourselves, yes, I have no problem with staying to myself, right? But the only reason why we feel that way is because we're already socially overwhelmed, right? And not a lot of people understand that. We're overwhelmed by the stress of finance. We're overwhelmed by the stress of negotiations through life. We're overwhelmed by the stress of traveling. And it's traveling because people don't drive well. Actually, today, I drove for like 6 hours today. Actually, from 8 to 4. I drove a full shift today, and I wasn't even working. I was taking care of personal stuff. But the magnitude is that where I was driving, and Steven's got a Toyota, so Steven knows what this is like. I was hightailing it. I was hightailing it. The slowest I went was, I think, 75. Um, and some people are gonna think, oh, that's not fast. But let me explain to you how this started real quick, and then we're gonna get back to the main topic. So first, we break out onto the highway. Speed limit says 65. I was doing 90. I'm in the left lane, and one of the things I like about where I was driving is that every time somebody looked in their rear view mirror and realized that I was behind them and they were in the left lane, they would get over. So I would not have to go around people the way we normally would have to go around people in certain cities and states where they're going to cruise in the left lane. And when they see you behind them, they slow down and force you to go around them, passing them on the right. No, I didn't have to experience any of that. When they were riding on the road, they thought they were doing a good job. And then they look in the rearview mirror and a car came out of nowhere and they're like, shit. And they would just kind of get over, right? And when as soon as they got over, and I would just zip right on past them. I love my old school. Special shout out to OG Kicks. So I got used to this because it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours in one direction. And then I started driving all over the place. And like I told you, it was 6 hours worth of driving by the time everything was done. But acknowledging the fact that like an hour and a half in, I found myself passing signs that said 45 miles an hour. Then uh, I passed a sign that said 25-mile-an-hour school zone. Then I passed another sign that said 35 miles an hour. Then I passed another sign that said 45 miles an hour. Then I passed another sign that said 65 miles an hour. Keep in mind, I told you the slowest I've gone this entire trip was 75. So I was 75 in the 25 schools. And I look back and I was like, not a fucking cop in sight. Today was a good day. I felt like, oh, well, your boy Ice Cube. Micah says, too much noise in the world. Most people are chasing other people's stories. Better to create your own stories in life. And that's why I'm telling you one of mine. So I was getting on it, but I got everywhere I was supposed to go. The GPS would quote me a certain time and I would get there 20 to 30 minutes faster. But I was still driving all over the place since first thing this morning. The whole day I was in the car. By the time I finished, I don't know, Stephen, you drive a lot. You ever drove so much that your shin started hurting, like your whole leg start hurting, like you start cramping up, your driving legs start cramping up when you try to push the throttle. Man, my leg hurts so damn bad. I'm sitting over here like I just got kicked 50 times by Karate Kid in the shin kind of shit. And I'm like, I'm gonna muscle through this and get this bitch back to the house. Yeah, so I had been driving that. I was driving that long, that fast that my legs started hurting, and there was no old pull over and stretch. Fuck that. We gonna keep going, quarter mile at a time till we get to our destination. And I got to my destination, boy. And when I got there, I was like, "Thank you, Jesus." All right. So back to the main discussion. You might find yourself having an abundance of time, exuberant quantities of wealth, but the poverty of experience is something that you would have in a environment such as this. You may have escaped the rat race of modern society only to find yourself in a beautiful cage where the bars were made of shimmering water and the lock was a profound, unshakable loneliness, right? And that's just the first brutal truth. Michael says, I have at least 580,000 miles under my belt, big rigs. Right. But see, okay, I am not going to take any stress away from your past career with riding on rigs. But what I have experienced with those big rigs is that where you put your feet on them rigs is not as uncomfortable as where you put your feet in a car. And this movement here with your foot in a car is not the same as this movement here with your foot in a rig. And the back and forth action of gas pedal, gas pedal, brake pedal, doing this with your wrist for a while hurts. So imagine doing this and applying pressure with your foot for 4 to 6 hours. You can find that stick shifts are so much better because you can at least pick up your throttle foot, push the foot down on the clutch, and alleviate some of that strain. But with an automatic, where only one leg moves the whole car, you start finding yourself saying, I need a gym membership and do extra leg days because this is some bullshit. That's right. Even what your boy said, ludicrous. Move, bitch. Cruise control. Okay, now this is one of the worst parts about having an older model vehicle. I got a 2008. I have cruise control, but let's be honest. While I have been able to make that cruise control function for me a few times over the past 5 years, the way people drive on the highway, you have a problem where you still have, because you got to understand, my car was doing good. I'm doing like 90 miles an hour at like 2,100 horsepower. So you understand, like I was, or not 2,100 horsepower, it was 2,100 RPMs. It wasn't horsepower. I don't have like a supercar. It was 2,100 RPMs. So if you're looking at the RPM gauge, it was at like two and a notch, and I'm at like 90 something. So it was doing a damn good job. I didn't have to put a lot of pressure on the throttle to maintain speed. So cruise control would have helped if nobody was in the left lane. But every probably eighth of a mile, there was always a jackass in the left lane. And every now and again, there was a jackass that would get into the left lane even though they watched five cars get over for this car, they would get in the left lane to go around somebody as I'm barreling down. So I would have even had to disconnect my cruise control because every time you put your foot on the brake pedal, the cruise control turns off, and then you got to reset the cruise control after you accelerate. So the issue is that I would have had less foot pedal issues, but I still would have had foot pedal issues because I always had some jackass that thought that they belonged in the left lane. And this was a 2 lane highway. Nobody belongs in the left lane besides me and probably Steven, since we be hightailing it down the road. We be hauling ass down the road. Like, if you catch me, you give me a ticket. But motherfucker, if you don't catch me, is I throw it in cruise control sometimes and stretch my legs out and put my feet under the pedals until I need them. Yes, and actually that's what ended up happening. I took my foot off the gas for a little bit, and I was dealing with some hills, so I took my foot off the gas as the car was going downhill. So while it was speeding up naturally, I took my foot off the gas and I was able to rest my leg a little bit. But when the car had to go back uphill, I had to put my foot back on the gas. He said it doesn't work. It don't work all the time. It doesn't work all the time. Like, so the cruise control does work. The cruise control works. The sensors work. So it'll tell me if there's somebody beside me or behind me. It'll tell me if I'm getting too close to the car in front of me. But the cruise control, it's not a Tesla. So it's not going to slow down on its own. it will keep going until it runs into the back of the car in front of me. So if I'm barreling down on somebody who doesn't want to get the fuck out of my way until like you count to 100, Mississippi, then they move over, I have to slow down and let them realize that they're interfering with my ability to move forward, and then they move over. So we're in the lane, and I'm over here where they can see me in their rear view mirror. I wasn't there before, but I'm here now, like kind of gaining on them, backing off, gaining on them, backing off, so that they know that if you move, bro, I'm gonna buck. And then they'll start veering over, and as they veer over, I buck right on past them. And you're like, yeah. And I don't let it up. I don't let it up. When I go past them, I keep going. So it's like I'm off into the sunset. As soon as they give me the road, I take it. I'm off into the sunset, and they'll be looking like, shit, this motherfucker. So if you're paying attention to the cars behind you for those defensive drivers, and you see a car that passes a car on the left after that car gets over, you and everybody in front of you should start merging over to the right lane and be like, nah, let that guy go. Because wherever the fuck he was trying to go, he's trying to get there in a hurry. And that's what the left lane is for. Is that my cruise control only works less than 75% of the time. Exactly. It's a 2014, and it is selective when it wants to work. You notice that, like, no matter how many times you push the button, you have to. So there's this weird thing where you have to set it, and then like you have to hold your throttle at a certain speed, you have to set cruise control, and then you have to push the up and down on the throttle buttons for your cruise control to see the car accelerate and decelerate before you take your foot off the throttle to lock it in. And if you don't do it right, it doesn't lock in. So you'll be sitting there for like 15 minutes trying to get your cruise control set. You're like, man, fuck it, I'll just drive. You got a 14, I got an 8, I got a 2008. So I'm just like, but it's on. I got the lights on the steering wheel that says cruise control active, uh, lane sensors active. You know, I've got the sensors on the dash that are active that are like, yeah, it's everything's working. But for some reason, cruise control is like, not today. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll drive. Now, the second brutal truth about being on Tuvalu, Tuvalu, Tuvalu is going to be the direct result of the first issue. So the second issue is the byproduct of the first issue. And it's for anyone who is single and thinking about moving to a small place like this. You're going to find, he said, lane sensors, that's fancy. Yes, yes. So I have lane sensors, and I have perimeter proximity sensors. So if there's a vehicle in front of me and I'm catching up to them too quick, my car will start beeping. If I'm trying to park my car and I get too close to an object, my car will beep in the front and in the back. And I've got lane sensors that lets me know that if I'm like veering, my car will beep. So I I can pay attention. It ain't gonna stop me from falling asleep behind the wheel, but it'll definitely keep me alert if I'm awake. Yeah, it's a fancy 2008. It's a Cadillac. I got luxury cars, ironically, not because I wanted them, but because they were cash cars and they were fucking convenient. um, and I got it off of a used car lot. I got the Cadillac I got off of a used car lot for $4,000 because the Chrysler 300 that I got off of that same used car lot for $4,000 had the transmission brake after I bought it. So they took $2,000 off the price of the Cadillac, making it the cheapest car on their lot in the best condition. I bought it. I was like, fuck it, I'll take that one. Right. And I got it because, you know, Cadillacs are like Crown Victorias with the smooth suspension. It's big. It's got the wide seats in it, and you know the dog loved it in the back seat and everything like that. So I was like, yeah. And it had the big ass trunk. I could fit like 5 bodies in the trunk. That's great for the way I go grocery shopping. So when I was buying it, I wasn't buying it because it was a Cadillac. I was buying it because it had more space. It had more trunk space, and there. The only thing that was wrong with it at the time was that the air conditioner didn't work. That was it. And I was like, fuck, bypass that bitch. And we was good, you know. And that's a Cadillac that had broke down last month, not last month, this time last year when the car broke down and I was late for the show, an hour and a half late for the show. That's the same car. I just started driving it again. I had fixed it earlier this year, put it up on bricks and left it. And then when the Chrysler just went out like 2 or 3 weeks ago, when I told y'all the story about having to get that tow, I put the Cadillac back on the road. So I'm driving a Cadillac again, right? Eventually, I'm gonna go back to Toyotas, but instead of buying extra vehicles just for the sake of buying them, I only get what I need. So while I got two cars that are reasonable, I will fix what I have. But if I do go get another one, because remember I told you guys about bulletproof cars, right? Well, I mean, there's a $150,000 Toyota Camry that's got like stage 3 military security on it, bulletproof, everything. The only thing it doesn't have is like the mace and the electric doors and all that other shit that the Red Bonnie tank has. But the bulletproof interior cabin, the 3.5 inch thick bulletproof glass and all that stuff. Toyota Camry got one of those for 150 grand. I can't remember the name of the company that makes them. It starts with an I and it's a very weird name. And you have to contact them and pre-order it in order to really start getting into the price. But I did see some quotes for some vehicles that they had already made and sold before, and it was like $150,000 for a bulletproof Toyota Camry, and I'm like, yeah, I can see myself fucking with that. If not, an extra 300 grand more and give me a Res Bonnie tank, and I would get the Res Bonnie tank because when they say open the door and they touch the door, because I'm gonna be the one that said, "Don't touch my car." I'm gonna be as soon as they walk up, don't touch my vehicle, officer. Don't touch my vehicle. When they open the door, it's like you did it to yourself, bro. I told you don't touch my vehicle. And then pepper spray them. And since I've already committed 2 felonies, I might as well take it the rest of the way. But that's neither here nor there. Uh, But yeah, those vehicles are very fancy. Sunroof, moonroof, power windows, uh, uh, sensor memories for seat controls, all that other stuff. Heated seats, cooling seats, all that other stuff. Very fancy. For one of them's 2008 and the other was 2003. And I'm like, shit, that's the kind of features that you see on a car that's 60 grand right now. So like I enjoy that. But back to the main topic. Going to a small island, if you're single and you're looking to find uh, a special somebody. Probably going to be hard to do in a population of 12,000. You got to recognize the smaller the population as a man, the harder it is to find a woman because most people already have somebody. Even though it's not specifically betrothed, it's still to the magnitude that everybody who knows everybody, I've known so and so since I was a kid. You know, you're typically going to bond with people that you grew up with because that's the culture. So a stranger coming into society is not going to, you would be a novelty. So you might be a one night stand, but you would not be a lifelong partner over this person who knew you since you were a child, kind of thing, right? Like we grew up together, we have history together. We actually were friends before we became lovers, as opposed to you and I meeting. We're going to start off as lovers and then try to become friends. It's not the same. So let's talk about this dating pool, or in Tuvalu cases, the dating puddle. It's not a pool, it's not a pond, it's like a shallow puddle. When you fantasize about moving to a tropical paradise, your mind probably conjures up romantic walks on the beach. The reality for an expat in Tuvalu is a brutal numbers game that you are destined to lose. So let's be blunt about this. The dating pool is microscopic. With a total population of around 11 or 12,000 people, once you filter by age, relationship status, and mutual interest, you are left with a number that is statistically insignificant. That's a challenge for locals, but for an outsider, it's compounded by cultural and societal barriers, right? Because with 11,000 people, on average, in most countries, there is usually around 51 or 54% of the population is women. There are, more often than not, more women in most cultures than men, specifically because historically the men go to war. Even in modern society, it is more expected for the men to go to war than the women. In smaller countries and smaller islands like this one, it is more common for the men to do backbreaking labor than the women, and the men would leave the island to go and get that work done somewhere else to bring money back to the island to take care of their families. So there would likely have more women that are dedicated to their husbands that are working offshore, and more women that are dedicated to their husbands that's working locally than there are women that are of legal age, that are available, that are young enough to reproduce children. So when you start thinking about between the ages of 18 and 35 that are not married, not in a committed relationship, not separated but still married kind of situation, you start finding the out of 12,000, you start off with having about 5,000 of them, 5 or 6,000 of them might be women. Out of that 5 or 6,000, probably 2 or 3,000 might be over the age of 18. And then out of that 2 or 3,000 of them, maybe 1,000 of them might be single, not divorced, not married, no kids, stuff to that effect. And then out of that 1 or 2,000 people, you have to try to get one that is willing to date a stranger. If women want equality, what women do not want equality. What women want is superiority without responsibility. That's what women want. They want to have total control over the estate without the responsibility of managing the estate. If we compare a woman's behavior to how men treat cars, all men want a supercar that they don't have to pay for, that they don't have to maintenance, but they can race all over the world with no legal responsibilities, no legal repercussions for it. Exactly that mindset. Women want to be in a relationship where they have financial stability so they don't have to work if they don't want to. They don't have to manage the budget if they don't want to. They don't have to negotiate things if they don't want to. All they have to do is look attractive and potentially have sex. And if children are involved, they will choose to watch the children. It is not their responsibility to watch the children, because if they choose to go to work, they choose to complain about taking their responsibility that they claim was theirs. Not that men made it their responsibility, because men want to be fathers. So men will raise their own children, but the women want to have the children as a crutch to allow them to have no responsibility anywhere else. Well, because I'm capable of giving birth, future value, I am entitled to presently all of these resources without actually having to perform giving the birth. If the woman's value is tied to giving birth, then a man should not subsidize the woman's income until after she has given him children, which means that she would have to sleep with him until she gets pregnant. And then when she gets pregnant, then she gets added to his payroll. No woman's going to agree to that if her value is tied to her giving birth. But if you take away birth, right? Because with the women's choice, my body, my choice thing, and everybody wants to get abortions these days, Plan Bs, birth control, all this other stuff, they're not willing to give the men the legacy. So that value that women claim to hold doesn't exist because they're not willing to produce the children. So in this dynamic, what else is she doing? She's looking cute and sleeping with the guy. That's it. She doesn't balance the money because she only shows up to get an allowance. She doesn't show up to make sure that the money is right. She doesn't show up to make sure that the money grows. She shows up to get her cut out of the money, right? She might clean up, wash a couple dishes, and do some laundry and bitch about that part, but she's not rebuilding the house. She's not rebuilding the cars. She's not rebuilding the furniture. You have to do that, or you have to pay somebody else to do that. If it broke, you have to hire somebody to come and fix it, right? She's not going to fix it, right? You have to organize your own schedule because you're a man. She's not going to raise a man. You have to organize your own schedule. She's not going to manage your schedule for you to make sure that you are where you need to be at. She's not going to make sure that your clothes are correct so that you're wearing the right outfit to represent her in the best light, right? None of those things that women used to do back in the day is a woman going to do in modern 2026. So besides making you a cheeseburger because she feels like that's what all men want, she's not going to do anything else besides look attractive, sleep with you, complain about the things that she does around the house as if it's 1,001 things, and then turn back around and expect you to give her total control over who comes to the house, what you can do with the house, who you can ride in the car, where you can go with the car, GPS track your cell phone, what you're going to do with your money. As soon as your money comes in, she takes her cut and then takes the rest. If she pays the bills and takes the rest and pays the bills, otherwise she's going to take her cut and expect you to pay the bills. But her cut comes out before the bills get paid. So if her hair and nails cost more than the rent money's gone. Now you got to make more money to pay the rent. This is the behavior patterns of the women that we end up falling for and trying to turn into wives. And I know women are going to say, oh, well, what about the abusive men? Yeah, those are the men that y'all fall for and try to turn into husbands. The guys that beat you up instead of worshiping the ground that you walk on. We both make bad decisions. So let's just acknowledge that. But the fact is that when we start talking about women wanting equality, true defined equality, if the man is going to go and get the resources and bring it back to the household, true equality is that the woman would take those resources and magnify them so that if he's bringing in 50,000 a year, she turns that shit into 75,000 a year. Y'all remember Tupac? Mama used to send me to the store to get a gallon of milk, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. Hard to be legit. Y'all remember that verse? If we had women that would take our dollar and try to make $1 out of 15 cents, we bring in, $15,000 and she's turning that into 100 grand, we would have women of value. That was true equality. If I go get it and I bring it back here, you take it and you make it better. But there not one relationship in recent time where any man can truthfully jump on a podcast and any woman can truly jump on a podcast and testify that a woman got with a man and made him better. If a man was living a $3,000 a month lifestyle, he brought her in, and now he's living a $5,000 a month lifestyle. His $3,000 a month used to go a certain way, and now it's not going that way. Then when she leaves, he's got less. Now instead of him having a $3,000 lifestyle, now he's got a $2,500 or $2,000 lifestyle because he's trying to rebuild everything she took from him. Usually, when women come, the man is set wherever he's at. She doesn't build him up to make him better. She doesn't invest in him to get more out of him. She takes from him what he produces, and then she walks away when she is no longer satisfied, which is a parasitic behavior. A equality would be a symbiotic relationship. And you have to understand the difference between a parasite and a symbiotic relationship is that the parasite gives something back to the host in a symbiotic relationship. A simple parasite like a leech that just takes from the host. Because I can think, for example, I can't remember the name of the mackerel or whatever it is, the or barnacles, whatever. There's you got the fish in the ocean, right? Like sharks. And then you have the little small tiny fish and critters and stuff that will eat the plaque and everything off the shark's teeth, right? So it's a symbiotic relationship because the small creatures that feed off of the stuff on the shark's teeth, clean the shark's teeth. The small creature gets fed, the shark's teeth gets clean, no cavities. They benefit from one another's existence. In a relationship that's a symbiotic relationship, the man provides for the woman maximizes that so that the man has an abundance now because of her presence. Her presence brings him abundance, not just sexual gratification. That is equality. Women don't do that. Women come in and they benefit from his resources, which is a parasitic behavior with no reciprocation. It is not symbiotic. The man doesn't benefit from her. He's renting her time, and that's not equality. Is I know some like that. They just ain't mine. Still looking for one. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. I've met some women that because I was dating one back in 2009 that actually enrolled me into college. So part of the success that I am right now was because of that woman. But I was a rebound. That woman was dating me after her boyfriend had died, and then after she had gotten over her boyfriend, me and her broke up. So she wasn't a bad person. We didn't do anything where I cheated on her or she cheated on me or anything like that. We wasn't fussing, fighting, arguing, or nothing like that. I was an emotional rebound. And then when she got over her husband, I was no longer useful. It was a relationship of convenience and a situation just parted ways. But she, one in millions, put me into college, which led me to go through 8 years of college, which led me to be the person that I am right now. But it was partly because of my drive to keep going after she put me in there. But I can say that before her, I wasn't headed in the direction of college. It was a dream that I wanted to obtain with no actual knowledge at that time of how to obtain it. And one conversation with her, and I was enrolled in college. So it has happened, and women do exist. It's just they're not easy to find, right? So I can say that there are women that are out there that do benefit men, but there are not enough of them out there that will benefit the women because most women want a finished product. Most women don't want to build a man up. He said, watching friends' relationships, and I do get hope shots. All people in later 30s and early 40s. Bro, there's a lot of hope. But what we see is the highlight reels of these relationships. When when they're getting along in public, you think, oh, they've been together for 5 years, they're still in love, there's still hope for me. But when they get back to the house and they fussing and arguing and cussing at one another, and they're only staying together because of the finances, they're only staying together because of the kids, right? They're only staying together because they can't leave this place because their credit is too bad. They're in the collection agency at other places and this, that, and the third. And if they move, they would not get approved for another location, right? So they just deal with the relationship that they have. No relationship is perfect, but the thing is that the it's perfect relationship dynamic that a lot of relationships project to society is not the whole picture. So I'm not saying that we're going to have a 100% stress-free relationship. What I'm saying is that when you find the right person, you are improving because of that person. Somebody gets with me, I'm showing them how to invest. I'm showing them where to put their money, where their money's making money for them. They go from having less, struggling to get by, to having more than what they ever thought possible just by associating with me. So if I were a female, I would be the cream of the crop because anybody who partners with me will grow because they're with me. You will have more when I leave than what you had when I got here. Even after I take my cut, you will have more when I leave than what you had when I got here. And that's not what a lot of women can say in 2026. A lot of women say, I better get mine, blah, 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 blah. But what about my boyfriend? What about my husband? Oh, fuck him. He ain't shit. I don't need a man. So until women change that dynamic, it's going to be hard for men in Western culture to find a woman of value in Western culture. But if you go to a place like uh, Tuvalu, that it's going to be harder to find a woman. But if you go to the Philippines or Indonesia, Vietnam, Taipei, Taiwan, Indonesia, South Korea, oh yeah, they're out there. And they'll give you 15 to 20 years of their life before they give up on you. As long as you're not abusive. If you're abusive, they're probably going to give you 5 to 10. But if you're not abusive, they'll give you 15 to 20 years of your life before they give up on you. Now, from what we've discovered, uh, Tuvaluan society is deeply traditional. Life revolves around family, church, and community, like we said earlier. Now, this isn't a culture of casual dating or swiping through apps. Relationships are going to be serious, visible, and often move towards marriage, which means that you're dating this person with the expectation to spend the rest of your life with this person until one of y'all fuck up and then y'all break up and then you start over. But in a population of 11 or 12,000, everybody knows how many times you were not able to sustain a relationship. And if you have a promiscuous behavior pattern, the whole country knows that you aren't one to get with because you aren't the kind of person that behaves as if you're willing to settle down. So you got to be careful about this. Courtship can be a more formal process, and public displays of affection are generally frowned upon. As a foreigner, you're entering a social ecosystem that's not built for you. The dating scene, as a Westerner, might know, like bars, apps, and a variety of social venues, simply doesn't exist. Meeting people happens through the community introductions. This means any potential relationship is going to be immediately public because she was once not hanging out with you, and now she is hanging out with you, and you are the only person she's hanging out with right now, which makes y'all a couple. So there's no room for trial and error here. It creates immense pressure. So you're going to find yourself in a catch 22. To even try to date, you have to navigate a complex set of cultural norms that you can only superficially understand. On top of that, the expat community is very tiny and transient, mostly aid workers, diplomats, and contractors on short term assignments. Even if you do connect with another foreigner, there's often an expiration date on the relationship. Someone is always on the verge of leaving. So you will experience the crushing realizations that your romantic life has been put on an indefinite hold while you're on this island. The human need for connection and partnership isn't something that you can just switch on and off. So you'd have to optimize your finances, which easy to do here, but completely neglect your emotional well-being. The beautiful sunsets are going to feel hollow when there's no one to share them with. The financial freedom feels pointless when you have no one to build a future with, right? And I know, yeah, we always talk about how romantic watching the sunset is, or how romantic watching the sunrise is, or how romantic stargazing is. But when's the last time you've actually done that by yourself? It's just boring as fuck. The only thing romantic about it is the thought of the person next to you getting nasty in the back seat of the car that y'all are sitting on top of while y'all looking at the damn stars. That's the only thing that's romantic about it. Watching the sunset, watching the different color rays of light reflect off of the face of the person that you want to smash on the cliffside. That's the kind of stuff that makes it romantic. But you just sitting there for hours at 1 centimeter at a time watching the the sun go down the horizon. That's not romantic. That's boring as fuck. It's hot. Matter of fact, some situations. Some of us don't like sun. Some of us are day walkers, but we prefer to stay in the night. Okay. Right? The financial freedom is going to feel pointless when you have no one to build your future with. You understand? The island isn't just a remote location geographically, it's going to be a remote location from the fundamental human experience of finding a partner. So if you're not bringing a partner there with you so that you have your family on board with you where you can like kind of make things work, going there by yourself and then trying to find somebody else, you're going to be by yourself for quite a while. That's going to lead us to the third and most practical truth: the visas and financial catches. This is going to be where the dream of permanent, cheap paradise completely falls apart. So, if we start with the money, yes, the cost of living can be low if you live exactly like the locals. But as an expat, you're probably not. You're going to want the comforts of foods that you're used to. And that's going to be where the hidden costs are going to start bleeding you dry. Tuvalu imports almost everything: a block of cheese and a can of Coke. It all has to be shipped thousands of miles from somewhere else. And with everything being blown up right now, it's going to cost even more to get stuff shipped in. This makes imported items incredibly expensive and their availability erratic. The single supermarket can feel like a lottery. One week, there are carrots, next, none for months. So while your rent might be low, you could easily spend that same amount of money on a few bags of familiar groceries. Tuvalu isn't cheap like Thailand or Vietnam, where low cost comes with abundance. In Tuvalu, low cost comes with scarcity. Then there's the infrastructure. While things are improving, thanks to the new submarine internet cables, the connection can still be inconsistent. So, a constant source of stress for remote workers is going to be the lack of stable internet. The banking system is also very limited. ATMs on Funatfuti now are there, but their reliability can also be a gamble. And you're still advised to have a good amount of cash on hand. So, like Michael said, put it in the floorboards, put it in the safe in the wall, bury it underground under the bedroom. But keep a bunch of cash on hand because your ability to get access to cash is difficult. But all of that is nothing compared to the visa trap. This is going to be the real deal breaker. Tuvalu is not a country that has thrown its doors open for permanent residents, at least not yet. There is no simple retirement visa, no golden visa for investors, and no digital nomad visas as of yet. The main way for a foreigner to live in Tuvalu long term is with a work permit, which usually requires being employed by a local organization that can show no Tuvalian could fill that particular job. So, for the average remote worker, it's a non starter. Most visitors arrive and get a permit for a limited time, and the exact rules depend on your nationality, but you might be looking at an initial stay of 1 to 3 months. You can apply for an extension, but there's going to be a limit. You are a visitor, and the system is designed to keep it that way. Settling down is for uh, far more legally impossible for most people than you would imagine. So you're living on a countdown timer, perpetually uncertain about your right to stay. And there's going to be some scenarios where, yeah, you can exhaust your stay time, then go to another country for a couple weeks and then come back. But you're never in one spot permanently, and you're always on the go, which means you're always going to be packed because you're always going to go. Steven says a few bags of familiar groceries in the states can compete with rent in America nowadays, and we have in abundance. No, that's not what we're talking about. So imagine a bag of Doritos being $15. Imagine a gallon of milk being $25. Imagine Spam or the little $1.25 tuna being 10 or $15. Imagine familiar household products. Your grocery bill be like $700 or $800 for two weeks worth of food because the fact that it had to get imported in instead of having a month's worth of food for $600 or $700. Right? That's a huge difference. It's almost like paying Jordan prices for like pay less everything just because you have to ship it in. Now, if you come to this place to build a life, the legal framework only allows for an extended vacation. It completely undermines any sense of stability. Some might wonder about citizenship, but the path to it is practically a non-starter for the average person because you can't meet the long-term residence requirements if you can't legally get a visa to stay long-term in the first place. This is going to be the ultimate catch. The financial freedom was built on a foundation of sand. So while you're saving money in a place that would never truly let you belong, you're making a lot of sacrifices to make that happen. So would it be a mistake to go here? With the whole experience of going to a new country uh, to live that remote island life be considered a failure? Well, the answer is simply yes and or no. Because the verdict on Tuvalu isn't about whether it's good or bad, but who it is for. The financial premise is true, but with major asterisks. You can live here cheaply and save tons of money if your only goal is to build capital for a short, finite period, and you're willing to trade almost all social and um, creature comforts to do it. Then Tuvalu might be the most beautiful boot camp on the planet. So, say you wanted to go to this country and do like a 3 to probably 6 months at most stay. Um, geo arbitrage, where you stay someplace cheap for a portion of the year and then stay someplace expensive the other portion of the year. So you might stay here for the summer when everything is more expensive, and then go to someplace like Tokyo or Hong Kong or South Korea and live in Seoul, um, more expensive place to go, right? With the money you saved up from living in uh, Tuvalu for 3 to 6 months. That could work, right? So that would make this like a tropical boot camp. But permanent, if you're looking for a life, a community, a partner, or a place you truly call home, you're looking in the wrong place going to Tuvalu. The social cost is astronomical. The loneliness is a tax that compounds daily, and the logistical friction of island life is a constant low grade stress that eats away at the peace that you came to find. So, who is this going to be for? First, the true hermit, someone who's genuinely comfortable with their own company and could give two flying fucks about another living creature nearby. Second, the short term adventurer on a specific time bound mission like a scientist or an aid worker. Third, maybe a couple who are entirely self contained with a social life packed in their suitcases. But it's not for digital nomads looking for an expat hub. It's not for the single person hoping for romance. It's not for the entrepreneur looking to invest. The local economy just doesn't have the infrastructure for most foreign investments. So the time you might spend in Tuvalu might teach you some critical lessons. Lifestyle arbitrage isn't just about finding the lowest cost of living. It's going to be about finding the right balance between financial costs, social fulfillment, and logistical convenience. And that's going to be one of the main reasons why I promote the Philippines over all other countries because the fulfillment of your social life and the logistical convenience is guaranteed with the exceptionally beneficial financial cost because it's like 30% of the cost of living in America. You still have the ability to build a life there. And the logistical convenience, you have the ability to use the resources that you have to get around and accomplish things without having to deal with the frustrations. So if you solve the first variable and nearly bankrupt the other two, then you would come to this place for financial freedom. But you'll learn the true freedom isn't just the numbers in your bank account. It's going to be having options like community and connection. It's going to be about having a place where you feel you belong. And that's not something that you get by self isolation, right? Tuvalu, for all its beauty, could never be that place for a lot of people. So in the end, you're probably not going to stay. And they're not going to let you stay for very long. So the dream, as a beautiful as it is, couldn't survive the collision course with reality. You'd find yourself leaving Tuvalu with a much healthier bank account, but more importantly, with a much clearer understanding of what you actually value. The silence that you craved before, you now saw as a void. The simplicity that you idealized, you now recognize as a lack of opportunity. And I always talk to you guys on the show about opportunity costs. You may not regret the time that you spend there, but Tuvalu is a stunningly beautiful country with a rich culture and warm, resilient people. While it was a powerful, if not painful, teacher of your actual core values, you'll learn that you can't hack your way to happiness with a financial spreadsheet. It's going to show you that things that are truly making life rich, such as love, friendship, community, and a sense of belonging, cannot be bought no matter how low your rent is. Your journey to one of the most remote islands on earth isn't going to be the life hack that you think it is, right? It's going to be the reality check that you never expected. And maybe in the end, that's what you really need. If you go there looking for a cheap place to live, you leave understanding what it's truly priceless. So I want to ask you guys on our way out tonight, what is the biggest sacrifice that you've ever made for financial reasons, and what was it worth to you? Was it even worth it at all? Let me know by putting that information in the comments section. And if you guys found this discussion and all discussions that we had today over the last 2 hours uh, valuable, make sure if you haven't done so already, to subscribe to the channel, like the show, mash those reaction buttons, hit that notification button because I'm going to be sharing more about the realities of remote work, financial independence, and the search for a life that is not just cheap but better in every country around the world every Wednesday. So you want to make sure that you swing back by, because while we have a live show every night of the week, on Wednesdays we give you guys different insights about different countries that you might want to consider. So, with all that being said, that is all I've got for you guys for tonight. We did a full, broad spectrum um, um, discussion today because we talked about this, that, and everything in between today. I'm going to start by saying, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So, ladies, please make it make sense. And then, fellas, I give you this information to make you guys highly value men, not just by increasing your financial income, but also increasing your decision making skills. You have to pay attention to the things in your life that are inside of your control. And then you want to proactively put in the effort to change the things that you don't like and navigate around the things that are outside of your control so that you can have a better way of life. Now, ladies, well, this is a male driven podcast from the male's perspective. You too can become higher value women by taking the information off of the show and applying it towards building your 20 or 30-year plan. By reverse engineering that plan to what steps need to be taken today, you can then steadfast on your goals to be successful and keep your eyes and ears open for the potential suitor that has the right character and personality. Uh, that I think I've already covered Canada because I covered Canada and Mexico when Donald Trump got elected. I can do an update on Canada. Um, but yeah, ladies, you wanna pay attention to the integrity, the drive, the ambition, dedication of the men that are talking to you, and see their ability to achieve their own 20-year goals, 20 and 30-year plans, and then see if their goals mesh with your goals. Because while y'all don't have to have the same goals, y'all should be capable of accomplishing your goals together. And two people can make it to $1 million faster than one. but it requires both of you to have long-term satisfaction goals and not short-term gratification goals. If one of you has no goals, that's equivalent to short-term gratification goals, and that person will be more of a hindrance riding the coattails of the person with the long-term satisfaction. So you want to weed out the decision makers uh, from compromising and interfering with your long-term goals. Um, so if Steven wants to do a vacation for a weekend soon. So what I'll do is I'll rearrange next Wednesday's schedule and I will give you some information about Canada. Because when I covered Canada, I did not cover Canada as one of the best places in the world to live, but I did cover the education that they have available there, some discounts and rebates that they have over there. We covered topics like childcare costs that they have there. Uh, when we covered Canada again, when we talked about the Trump accounts because Canada has the same financial model over there. Um, I actually found out from one of the students in Canada that they're teaching the fourth and fifth graders how to make, save, and invest money over there, how to balance their budgets, how to handle credit cards and stuff to that effect. And I was like, shit, they don't do that here in America. Uh, so um, I can cover some different areas of Canada that we didn't already cover on the show before, and then go into more detail about what it's about to be in Canada, and then I can cover that for next Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. So I'll rearrange whatever's on the next Wednesday show and put Canada for next Wednesday as a follow-up country because we've already talked about Canada because we also talked about Canada with the tariff exchange. So we talked about Canada quite a few times, and we talked about Mexico too with the tariff exchange. Canada charging America an extra 25% on electricity. Canada stopped taking alcohol from America, start taking American products off the shelf. The international trade with Canada started becoming rough. The oil that we were getting from Canada, we gave them the middle finger, and it was all kind of stuff going on. So, the cultural lifestyle and vacation ideas, we didn't cover those. So I can do that and then investment opportunities and squeeze that into a show for Canada for next week. And then pile on the rest of the weeks that we got to get. So that's all I've got for you guys for tonight. I want to thank you. Special shout out to Steven and Michael and OG Kicks for coming through to the show. I think I asked everybody of relevance for today. And then FX Trader. I can't forget FX Trader. Special shout out to FX Trader as well. Because I want to go to Niagara Falls. Why do you want to go to a place where Negroes is falling? Like what? People tell me that. I want to go to Niagara Falls. Well, bro, if you want to go to a place where Negroes is falling, just go to a low income neighborhood, just to stick your foot out and just let the Negroes fall. And pour some water on them when they fell. uh, that's not what you meant. That's not what you meant. Uh, 2 hours and 3 minutes into the show. YouTube won't see this part. From what I understand, it's a very big waterfall. You're going to feel like an ant standing next to it. I think I covered talking about Niagara Falls. I don't remember what topic led me to talk about it. Uh, I don't know. I think we were talking about like somebody jumping off of it, being thrown off of it, or like a scary movie that had something related to it. But we talked about Niagara Falls during one of my shows. It's like a straw man conversation, and it's a very beautiful place to go depending on where you stand. And I'm going to tell you this now because you want to go. If you're going to be at the top looking down, you're going to have more of a fear of falling off than you're going to have of the shock and awe of looking at the scenery around it. If you are at the bottom looking up, you might have more shock and awe of this big ass waterfall, never ending tidal wave of water kind of thing. So it really depends on where you stand. But if I were you, I would take a vacation and spend like a week or two by the Niagara Falls so that you can spend some days at the top and some days at the bottom and kind of get the full view. It is so steep that no, I do not recommend taking a boat or a canoe or anything over the side. I don't recommend swan diving off the top. Survival from top to bottom is not high enough to say that that is one of those tourist attraction things that you should try. Um, Anybody offer bungee jumping, don't do it. Hang gliding, you can do hang gliding from the Niagara Falls. That'll work. Um, which will give you even more shock and awe of the scenery. So you can like start at the top of the Niagara Falls and hang glide down to whatever is at the bottom of it. But that's like pretty much all there is. It's like go. It's like saying I want to go to a dam and watch the water not go through the dam. That's how I feel about it. It's like don't see the adventure in that. But if we're sailing ships off the Niagara Falls, then yeah, I want to go see that. I might even be on one of those ships, like Titanic kind of situation. But hey. Either way, that's all I got for you guys for tonight. I appreciate those of you that ride the wave with me for the last 2 hours. And we're gonna start probably around about the same time tomorrow that we started today, like 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're making it a habit until daylight savings time stops kicking us in the balls. So we were remotely going to be close to where we tee off on our show, and that's what you're going to expect us for tomorrow, Thursday, after we get everything situated. So I want to thank you guys for coming to this and that. I'm your host Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I will see you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. Standing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground.